Today, I'm going to talk about how to relieve acute low back pain. So, the best piece of advice that I can give somebody with low back pain that's bothersome within the first couple of days after an injury is to keep moving. A lot of the time, we have the tendency to want to be really stiff anytime we do any sort of movement because it's painful. Try to find comfortable movement. That's the best piece of advice that I can give you. So, we want our movement to be gentle, predictable, not too fast. So, I'm going to show you a couple exercises that are considered mobility or flexibility exercises that should just be nice and gentle and help with some pain relief. So, you're going to start on your back, knees bent. Anytime you have low back pain and you're laying in this position, you want to bend your knees. That helps to just take a little bit of the pressure off of your low back. You're going to start with a posterior pelvic tilt or just a pelvic tuck, you can think of it as. So it's not going to be a ton of movement here, but if you imagine a puppy dog with a tail trying to tuck its tail between its legs, that is the movement that I want you to envision. The other cue that can sometimes be helpful is to flatten your low back against the mat. And it's just a gentle little flattening of the low back. You should feel just a nice stretch right at the base of your spine, kind of where your low back meets your tailbone area. You want to stay breathing the whole time. Don't hold your breath with any of these exercises. The next is going to be a gentle rotation. So you'll keep your knees together. Again, knees are going to stay bent. And then we're just going to rotate side to side. Nice and gentle. Again, very slow, predictable movement is going to be the most comfortable. Typically, when we injure our back, it's because we pick up a weight unexpectedly or move too quickly, or maybe we're in one position for a bit too long and it's kind of tight. So this just helps to loosen things up. You could even do a little bit of pulling your knee to your chest, keeping the opposite leg bent depending on how uncomfortable your back pain is. Again, this opposite leg bent is just going to keep the low back nice and supported. This one, you should feel a nice stretch through your glute area, kind of the back of the hips. And you may even feel that stretch travel all the way up into the low back. Next, we're going to go on all fours. We are going to do a cat-cow. So with the cat-cow, the cat position, you can think of a scared cat that arches its back up and kind of tucks its pelvis. And then the cow, you're going to let the low back kind of sink, chest fall towards the ground, and then look up to the ceiling. Again, cat, you're going to tuck your chin, tuck your pelvis, arch your mid-back, and then cow, let the low back kind of dip. If this extreme movement doesn't feel comfortable, then just take it into a shorter range of motion. So maybe going all the way doesn't feel great, so maybe I do a half cow here and then a half cat. And you might find that as you do more repetitions, that movement feels a little more comfortable and you can start accessing more range of motion. Next one is going to be a child's pose. So you're going to just fold down nice and relaxed. Your hips are going to come towards your heels. Take a couple deep breaths in this position, and you should feel a nice stretch right through your low back and into the hips. You can add a little bit of side-to-side reaching if that feels nice to target one side more than the other. And then finally, the last exercise, this is going to be one that I only want you to do if you feel like it is tolerable. And I would start with the upper exercises first before trying this one, just because it does put a little bit more pressure on the low back. So starting on your stomach and doing a press up into cobra. Then come back down, press up. You really want to try to keep your front of your hips on the mat as much as possible so that you can really move through the low back here. Again, highlights of this video would be to make movement very comfortable, very gentle, but stay moving. That's going to be the best way that you can start off the healing journey for your low back pain. And definitely leave us a comment if you have any questions or thoughts.